Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on 6 bad habits that public speakers get into. So Peter Dew's my name. I'm a public speaking trainer and coach, and I've been doing this for 12 years, and I love to help people find their voice so they can be more confident, more effective, and more influential to their audiences. It's about having impact, getting traction, creating a positive experience, a positive outcome for your audience. That's my purpose of speaking to you today. So in this role, I've watched a lot of speakers. I've attended a lot of seminars. I've gone to a lot of conferences, both purely as a participant, but as a keynote speaker, a presenter, and a participant. And I've distilled down these habits that I sometimes see possibly inexperienced speakers. So they may be subject experts, but they don't do professional speaking for their living. And in sharing this information with you, I will always put a positive on it. So 6 bad habits, 6 things to avoid, or 6 ways to be more effective. So while these are the bad habits I see, I'm going to give you a way forward. Please ask questions as we go, take notes, participate, write your comments in, share via the chat box, and think and apply to your own personal circumstances. Are there any of these habits that you may accidentally be doing yourself? Are there some ways you're going to change, adjust your presentation to be effective as a result of 1 or 2 of the things I share with you today? So I'm asking you to apply the information I share with you to your own personal circumstances with the purpose of maybe just enhancing, just improving, just growing your own speaking skills that little bit more. Ask questions as we go, type into the comments box, the Q&A box, and I'll respond as we go. First mistake I see a lot of is too many extraneous filler words. There's those filler words we all know about, the and yeah, you know, yeah, if only, and they don't really mean much, and they can be very distracting to the listener. Some of you will be more visual learners. You'll be looking at the slides, you'll be watching my gestures. But those of you who are just auditory learners will be listening to any of those, filler words. So let's go that I might be saying, and that'll drive you crazy. There are other filler words that can be even more destructive than and and those words actually sometimes don't actually mean much. And actually, if you were to actually leave what you were saying, actually the word out of, you'd actually make more sense actually. I heard one politician here in Western Australia speak at a seminar in Curtin University. My son was a student at the time, so this is some 15 years ago, and he invited family and friends to fill up the room, and the politician gave an update on the future of the city of Perth. My son was studying town planning, and I counted 25 actuallys in the first 10 minutes. And every 4th, 5th word actually was a word actually that didn't actually mean anything. Obviously would be another word that I obviously see and hear quite a lot of. So in a discussion, it goes like this. So thanks coming for everyone. Thanks everyone for coming to the meeting. Obviously, we have a problem here. And what I need from you, obviously, is some solutions that we can take forward with the aim, obviously, of hoping to overcome this problem. And obviously, we should get a better result, obviously, at the end. The antidote for any of your filler words, the ums and ahs, is the pause. The and ah is just a way of gathering your thoughts, of maybe transitioning or a little bit of a segue, as is so. So what I want to talk about next. So let's move on to the next bit. The pause can do the same thing for you. If you use some words that don't mean much actually, and obviously don't mean much actually, then grow an awareness of that, get some feedback from someone who sees you speak often at meetings, at presentations, and just a little self-audit. Do you have a extraneous word, not an and ah, that you use too much? I have one, and people sometimes point it out in their feedback, and that word is indeed so. So what I want to talk about next, so let's move on to the next thing. It's not a bad word and it makes sense, but I apparently use it too frequently. And one of my favorites that my children use, yeah, no. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Yeah, no, I agree. Was that a yes or was that a no? Professional speakers are aware of the destructive nature of the ability to lose a message if you use too many filler words. One last, picking on a potential politician, Caroline Kennedy, daughter of JFK, John F. Kennedy, was considered to be a Senate candidate for New York. She was interviewed on live TV, and there was 52 you-knows in 5 minutes. Some of the you-knows were 3 in a row, almost nonsensical. And that indeed was the end of her campaign to run for senator. Aimless wandering on the platform. I term this cat on a hot tin roof, or pacing back and forth. So this is the speaker that doesn't settle, doesn't stand still, or doesn't move and then resettle to a different place in the room. I'm not talking about just standing behind the lectern, and that would be another mistake that a speaker does, too much standing behind a lectern. But when they know that they need to get out behind the lectern, they do this back and forth rhythmical pacing, purposeless. I teach people to use the platform, but for purpose. So you might move to one bit of the stage, settle, reorientate, make eye contact with the audience, and stay there for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Then you might move to a different position. I have a whiteboard on one side of the room and a flip chart with butcher's paper on the other side. Spontaneous stuff, I kind of go to the flip chart. My planned models that I want to reveal to you, I'll go and draw on the flip chart. So I'll settle, stand by the flip chart, still making eye contact with people as I write on the flip chart. I'll then place that flip chart on the wall in case anybody wants to take a photo or they want to refer to it later on. I can point to that model later on. So this is using the platform for purpose. Avoid that pacing back and forth. The other one is the little dance that people do, 2 steps forward, back 3 steps, 2 steps forward, back 2 steps, 3 steps forward, back 2 steps. And it's just a forward back for no reason. Distracting, aimless wandering, please avoid that and use the platform for purpose. Why are you standing where you are? When you take a question from this side of the room, I would move across to the other side and settle so that my peripheral vision picks up everyone in the room. person over here asks a question, I will then move across to this side of the room, settle. My peripheral vision will pick up everyone in the room as I take the question from that person over there. Too much about themselves and not about the audience. I see this a lot in, I guess, heroes, champions, successful people, and they talk a lot about themselves and what I did, and I'm very good, and I trained really hard, and I didn't succeed the first time I tried for the Olympics, but what I did was I persevered. That would be an example of a speaker who really doesn't understand that needs to be more about the audience. And I use a little term called the I-U ratio. So you, Amanda, Sarah, and whoever else has joined us in the last few minutes, this webinar is about you. So I want to ask you, have you had any of these issues? Do you see any of these filler words, these aimless wandering? Do you make the audience, do you make your message about your audience? You may have noticed how I have turned that message onto you. I think even though you may be a champion, you may be a successful business person, that the I-U ratio should be about 20% I, 80% you. The other classic is when people introduce themselves. And let me share with you my elevator pitch, and I'm going to give you two versions, and let me know if you can see the difference. Number one, my name is Peter Jew. I'm a public speaking trainer and coach. I've been doing this for 12 years now. I am also a CSP, and I have an MBA, a Masters of Business and Administration, and I'm also a certified executive coach. I'm really good at what I do, and if I can help you, I'd be really happy to do that. That's about 90% about me, 90% I, and maybe 10% you. Let me do the elevator pitch again. So this is networking. So what do you do, Peter? So I'm a public speaking trainer and coach, and my role is to help you find your voice so that you can have the impact with your audiences, with your communities, with your clients, and you can make the difference, the change. You can educate, you can inspire, and make the differences that you want to happen. If I can help you in any way, let me know. See how I kind of reversed it? So please remember that when you do public speaking and you tell stories and you tell successes, the risk is too much I, too much me, and not enough you, not enough your audience. As they say in public speaking, it's not about you, it's about your audience. So it's not about me, it's about you. I'm going to pause for a moment. Any questions? Any comments? All right, so Sarah, thank you. Going back to the stage, the platform, what do you do at a conference when there is a lectern and you're meant to stand behind the lectern? My response to that is generally that when I speak at a conference, there will be a lectern, and the MC who introduces me and the other speakers will stand behind the lectern. But I will always ask for a lapel microphone, so one that pins here in by my lapel and sits in my pocket, wireless lapel, so I can walk around, or even a Madonna headset. This is not a Madonna headset, you know, the one that you can't see and there's just that little skin tone microphone that sits by your mouth. And that means you can move around, you can gesture, you can use the platform. So I always request one of those. I know a lectern may have a microphone anchored in the lectern, but I say, can I have a lapel or a hands-free microphone so that I can walk around? I don't like the held microphone because it limits my ability to gesture, but that is better than being anchored behind the lectern. So even when you're doing a conference presentation, the great speakers, the professional speakers, still will use the platform for purpose. So thanks for that question. All right. Moving on, I might finish a little bit early, no guarantees. Number four is about your content. So it's not so much about your stories, it's about making the content about the audience for the audience and reduce the amount of reference to yourself. So the way that I do this, or the metaphor, I talk about be the Panadol to your audience's headache. So this is message now. Let's say you have a really powerful message. We need to eat 5 veggies and 3 fruit, or 2 fruit every day. We need to exercise 30 minutes a day. And once again, it's a little bit like the IU ratio. Excuse me. We talk about our core message and why it's important to us, and how I've been doing research, and I found that by walking 30 minutes a day, what that means is I've been able to reduce my weight, my blood cholesterol's gone down. You need to make the audience about, you need to make the message about the audience. And one of the ways I do this is you can do an audience audit. So who's going to be in the room? What do they want from you? What's their headache that your Panadol is going to solve? What's their headache? What's keeping them awake at night? What's their worry in the area that you're speaking? If you're talking about financial planning, maybe you're talking to a group of people in their late 50s approaching those retirement years, their transition to retirement. They've got 5, 6, 7, 8 years before they can retire, and they're worried about their low superannuation balance. So your presentation will be around giving them the confidence, the knowledge, some skills so that they can sleep at night knowing that they will be able to achieve their retirement goals. A metaphor that captures that audience audit is walk 30 moons in your enemy's moccasins before you go to war. So a native North American saying, walk 30 moons in your enemy's moccasins before you go to war, i.e. try and negotiate. So as a speaker, walk 1,000 steps in your audience's footsteps, understand their pain points, understand their issues, understand what they want, so that you don't try and give a message that you're passionate about, but everyone in the room couldn't care less. One of the mistakes with public speaking is an audience comes expecting this. This is what they want. And the speaker delivers this and it misses. There's a mismatch of message and audience expectations. So make your content about the audience and for the audience. Solve a problem for them. Most audiences come to a seminar, come to hear you speak, even within the workplace, toolbox meeting, safety meeting, pre-start meeting, project update, new policies and procedures being rolled out. Most audiences come from a position of self-interest. I just want some knowledge. I just want some clarity. I want to know what this means for my business. I want to know what this means for my department. I'm a bit worried about this new policy. I'm a bit worried about this change management process. I want clarity. So if you cater for their needs, i.e. reduce their headache, your message will have more impact. One of the mistakes speakers do is they give fantastic messages, they're passionate about it, and everyone in the room says, well, that's nice. So what? Do not let your audience say to you after you've spoken to themselves, well, that was nice, so what? Mistake number 5, reading from a script or reading from their PowerPoint slides. Your PowerPoint slides are not your teleprompter. You are not reading the 7 p.m. news and good morning, everyone. Breaking news. There has just been a da-da-da-da-da-da. One of the most disrespectful things a speaker can do is to read from their PowerPoint slides word for word. So you'll notice in my PowerPoint slides, I do not have bullet points. Bullet point 1, bullet point 2, bullet point 3, bullet point 4. I just have an image, a word, maybe a quote, a concept, the I to you ratio, cat on a hot tin roof. And that gives me the anchor point to talk about the information I'm going to share with you. Real effective public speaking is about being conversational. It's about having a chat. It's not about being perfect or reading for a script. I do run a webinar on how to present without notes. So when I do my keynote speaking, it could be 45 minutes, it could be 60 minutes. I will present that entire presentation without reading from my script. Common mistake that speakers make is they read from their script. Try and learn to be conversational, do some mind mapping, build some models that will help you be more contemporary, more conversational in your presentation. Number 6, not making eye contact. There are those speakers that are a little bit nervous and they avoid looking at their audience. So it's above the head, that's scanning, it's maybe glancing to the floor or the roof, even the back of the room, anything, but don't make eye contact because you might see that I'm a little bit nervous. Please, you need to make eye contact with everyone in the room. Now, here's the thing with eye contact. The good news is if you have a room of 150 people and I look at someone down the back and I look at that one individual and I have a chat to them for that 3 to 5 seconds. So a real conversation for 3 to 5 seconds. The 5 people, the 10 people sitting around that person think I'm looking at them and having a conversation with them. Then I can move my eye contact down to the front and speak to an individual, not a group, not scanning, one person for 3 to 5 seconds. Then I'll move to the other side of the room, 3 to 5 seconds. So these are real conversations, one-on-one with all 150 people in the room. If you don't make eye contact, if you don't have that conversational persona, that real eye contact, you risk being not trusted, seen as maybe a little bit evasive or not trustworthy. And the phenomena that I call this is the dodgy car salesperson. So I've got a really good car there. It's got one owner. It's got a good track record. It's a good car. I'm putting in a few, filler words. Yeah, trust me, I wouldn't sell you a lemon. You're not going to buy that car off me if I won't make eye contact with you. Your audience is less likely to buy your message if you don't make eye contact with them. So I know it's scary business and I'm doing some coaching tomorrow, and the feedback from the person that wants coaching is, When eyes look at me, I get really nervous and everything falls to bits. We still need to learn to allow people to look at us, and we need to look at them when we're doing public speaking. Don't be seen as a dodgy car salesperson. 6 common mistakes, but wait, there's more. Here's a bonus tip. Apologizing too much when things go wrong. Look, I'm really sorry. I'm very nervous. I'm really sorry. As you can see, I'm very nervous. You may want to announce that once. Thank you for inviting me today. I'm going to talk to you about financial planning. I don't enjoy public speaking. I get a little bit nervous, but I've got 3 strategies that I think will really help you. So you can mention it, then move on, but apologizing too much. Oh, look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry we're a little bit late, or I'm sorry we've gone, looks like we're going to go overtime just a little bit. I am sorry. I'm sorry, my mind's just gone blank. Bear with me. I think something will come back. You don't need to apologize for being nervous. You may mention it, but then move on and give the people the content, the message, make it about them. Remember the IU ratio, and the audience doesn't mind whether you're nervous. As I get older, my mind goes blank. Seniors moments, brain drains happen more and more. But I know that if I don't mention it, if I don't apologize, that I can move on seamlessly. 90% of the time I will recover. And what I want to say comes. Occasionally what I want to say has gone forever. If I don't mention it, people don't know. And I move back to core message and we keep moving on. So don't apologize. Don't be late, by the way. Do start on time. Nothing more unprofessional than a speaker rocking up 5 minutes before start. You're already seated as an audience and you're now watching the speaker trying to connect to the internet, trying to get the data projector working, and 5 minutes into their speaking time, they finally say, right, let's get started now. And then they decide to go 10 minutes into the next speaker's time because they think they started 5 minutes late. So therefore they have another 5 minutes. You've started me on another rant. Don't apologize, start on time, finish on time, and you'll be absolutely brilliant. Quick summary, too many filler words, aimless wandering on the stage, too much about me, not enough about you, a message that doesn't work for the audience, make the content about the audience, eye contact, dodgy salesperson, and reading word from a script as if I'm reading the 7 o'clock news, good morning everybody, and of course, apologizing too much. Upcoming webinars for April, 14th of April, how to speak with passion and purpose. You need both. You need both. Purpose, no passion, people probably don't believe you. Low passion, energetic, with no purpose, just hot air. 21st of April, how to build credibility when public speaking. Credibility is going to help you help people buy your message. Credibility is going to help you ask people to follow you. Workshops, women in leadership in Kalgoorlie, women in leadership in Karratha, presentation skills in Karratha, presentation skills in Kalgoorlie. These are on the website. Please share them with anyone who you think might be interested. Any comments, questions, I'd appreciate them. Email them back to me. As I mentioned, this webinar has been recorded and will be made available to you. So my question to you, what 1 or 2 things are you going to do differently, or are you going to focus on, or are you going to try and eliminate to make your next presentation, whether it be attending a meeting, doing a workshop, a pre-start meeting, try and eliminate some of those distracting, some of those behaviors that don't add to you as a speaker. as a trainer when you're presenting. Thanks very much. Thanks, everyone.